The story of our economy can be told in two ways. The first, everything's great. American consumers have money left over from stimulus checks, unemployment benefits, the stock market is soaring, and the Fed is sure to pivot while inflation continues to cool down. The second is that consumers don't have enough money to cover rent, credit card bills, housing, and many are reliant on government subsidies such as SNAP, EBT, and those who are on fixed income like Social Security, SSI, and SSDI, they're suffering greatly as they are now at an age and condition where they can't really even work to improve their cash flow anymore. SNAP benefits are also expected to see payment decreases, and it's not going to be good. Now, which of these two stories makes more sense to you? Now, since we already talked about it, many companies are preparing for an economic downturn with massive layoffs. Do you feel as if you're safe with the job that you have right now? Just comment a quick yes or no down below. Now, if you're not comfortable with the stability of your job going forward, I want to ask you a question. What do you plan on doing about that? And many Americans only have a few months remaining until they reach their limit as credit card expenses continue to see all-time highs. Companies see profits while households see delinquencies. Now, before I continue, please take a second, drop a like for the video. And if you're in need of your daily dose of the truth when it comes to the US economy, Social Security, passive income, the stock market, the housing market, and everything that's going on in Washington, D.C. that affects our lives, our families, and our bank accounts, go ahead and hit the subscribe button now. And also make sure your notification bell's turned on. And if you own a home, make sure your home is protected. Get your free home warranty quote. There is a link in the description down below of this video. Is it time to celebrate, or is it just time to hold back on expenses even more? It's a question that many continue to ask as we are bombarded by conflicting updates and information every single day. Now, let's begin with this one. Almost half of Americans think that we're already in a recession. Now, in the same article, I kid you guys not, the very same article says that the US is not in a recession. Now, talk about confusing, right? But also, and bear with me here, the same article says that many economists and CEOs are preparing and expect a recession in 2023. It's kind of like the weather telling you, we have a nice sunny day today, but bring your umbrellas because it might rain. Also, the skies are clear, but I personally wouldn't leave without a raincoat handy in the bag. Okay, they're trying so hard to convince the people that the worst is now behind us, even though they know and they see that the worst is still to come. But here's another example of how they try and sound to be as optimistic as possible. This was on Reuters recently, and they said that the United States economy is starting to post strong numbers. At least that's what we're being told. Now, according to reports, the fourth quarter of 2022 showed growth while also showing 186,000 jobless claims.
Of two key U.S. economic indicators, GDP in the fourth quarter of the last year rose more than expected as recession fears loom, and the number of jobless claims dropped slightly. 186,000 Americans applied for first-time unemployment benefits last week. That is down 6,000 from the previous week. CBS News contributor Javier David is here with us in Studio 57 to discuss the labor market. All right, let's talk about these fourth quarter GDP numbers showing solid growth. Can we expect that trend to continue?
No. The short answer is there are already sort of warning signs, factory orders, manufacturing showing sort of signs of weakening. We came out of last year unexpectedly strong. Remember last year we had that debate. We had 2 consecutive quarters of contraction. That is the textbook definition of recession. Everyone is already bracing themselves for what they perceive to be or hope will be a mild recession. That's our new buzzword. Not just any recession, not a deep recession, but a mild recession, but a recession nonetheless.
Now, it's hard to believe that jobless claims are going down while layoffs continue to shoot up. So what is this, right? Manipulated numbers? And they're saying that the holidays were great. But how come companies like Hasbro are letting people go? What do they attribute it to? Poor holiday sales? It was so bad that they're cutting 15% of their workforce. Even worse news came for Bed Bath & Beyond, ticker symbol BBBY, as they defaulted on their credit line with JP Morgan, and they have admitted that they most probably cannot pay down their own debts. This is already after shutting down multiple stores. This may once again be a potential bankruptcy for the company. This means that people are losing their jobs too. So much for the economy doing so well, right? But of course, we're still going to see job numbers that continue to shoot up. But where are most of these jobs found? Here's one. Chipotle is looking to hire 15,000 workers. Now, there's no problem with working with these jobs, but at the same time, you have to ask, will this be enough money for me and for my household to survive? Will I be able to continue to put food on the table while I pay for housing, the car, food, medicine. For many Americans, holding just one job isn't enough. Now, while it might have been funny back in the day watching In Living Color, where if you guys remember this one guy, he was like, "You only have one job, man." Today, most Americans need more than one. And to be honest, working multiple jobs might be the best way to survive this downturn, as according to Bankrate's annual emergency fund, 68% of people are worried that they wouldn't be able to cover the living expenses for just 1 month if they lost their primary source of income. 57% cannot afford a $1,000 emergency expense. And let's be honest here, guys, a lot of us don't even have $1,000 left in the bank. But here's what puzzles me when I read data like this. I find it confusing that with the same amount of people who are already struggling, a huge chunk of them still insist that they can't go a day without Starbucks, or that they have to reward themselves with a nice dinner out every single payday, or people who just aren't content with their smartphones, so they switch their phones out every 6 months or so. Look, if you have the money to afford these things, good for you. Indulge yourself. Safely, of course. And that's great. But if you're running up credit card bills, carrying a balance every single month, getting bent over by high interest rates, it gets to a point where you know you won't be able to make these payments next month, and you still continue to live a lifestyle that your paycheck can't pay for. I don't know about that one. You're going to be in trouble when the crashes come. I'm just saying, believe me, they are coming. It's coming to the housing market. The crashes are coming to the stock market. And look at what's happening to the auto industry. Americans are using more debt to fund record new car prices. The Fed's consumer credit report also revealed that the number or the amount of new car loans spiked by more than $2,000 in just 1 quarter, from $38,000 to $40,000 per car. But we can't forget about the optimism, as American Express reported blowout earnings and forecast that revenue and earnings for 2023 will surge well above what analysts expected after the company saw consumer spending on its credit cards soar to a record in the final 3 months of the year, at a time when the United States economy was rapidly sliding into contraction, end quote. And sure, that could be what the data is suggesting, but what's happening behind the scenes? Oh yeah, Americans are borrowing on their credit cards to pay for everything: car payments, food, housing, rental properties, you name it. Now, if they owe money on anything, they swipe their cards and kick the can down the road, kind of following the lead of our government. But what's at the end of the road? I don't even want to think about it, but it could very well be bankruptcy, and at a minimum, seeing your credit score tank. There's also more bad news, as the FNS, also known as the Food and Nutrition Services, also announced this, quote, "All SNAP households have or will see a decrease to the SNAP benefits they receive when emergency allotments end. Some SNAP households already experienced that change. Others will in February or March of 2023, end quote. Some who receive these benefits may have already seen this on their EBTs, especially for those who receive both Social Security and SNAP. While yes, we're seeing a Social Security increase for 2023, it seems as if it's only taken from the SNAP and people who are already receiving, which essentially means that the increase wasn't really even an increase. It was just kind of to level out both the benefits. Sometimes you have to feel as though we're just being cheated out of these benefits. And I honestly only want the best, not only for our community, but for our seniors and for those who are on SSI and SSDI. Times are tough for us, and I hope that things can finally start looking up. Now, for those of you who may not want to wait for that, there are a few things that we can talk about. We can discuss budgeting. That's a great way to start things off. We can also talk about investments in the stock market, investing in the housing market or real estate market only when you find great deals. And just for that much needed boost in cash flow, we could also probably talk about the possibility of creating multiple streams of income through side hustles or small businesses. You'd be surprised how quickly you can create an LLC and get your business off the ground. The best time to begin is today. And you can do that by joining us in the Patreon community. There is a link in the description down below. No financial problem is too big or too small, as long as you're part of the community. I'm willing to hear you guys out and hopefully see you in better days to come. Now, before I go, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up for the video. Also subscribe for your daily dose of the truth. Appreciate you guys watching. Please be kind to one another, and I'll see you in the next video.